2007 was a year of a milestone for me. I graduated high school and I joined the Marine Corps soon after. It was a meaningful change to why I now handle myself out there in this cruel world. And looking now, almost 20 years later, I did all right for myself. And whenever I was feeling down, my favorite show had continued on with me, and that was Smallville. However, this milestone was overshadowed by the writer's strike of 2007 2008. For over 100 days, production has been halted for many productions of hundreds of TV shows and movies. The reason this occurred is because the actors were negotiating DVD residuals. For over 100 days, this happened until they came into the agreement with better compensation for DVD residuals. Now, why I mention this? Because it affected Smallville's seventh season. The production of the season was halted over several months. Once the strike was over, the production had to adjust the script, which shortened the season to just 20 episodes. I'll dig more into this towards the end, but let us get into another episode of Burst Retrospect with the continuation of Smallville, the complete series with Smallville Season 7.
If there's one man who can help, if there's one man who can help, it's the man coming in here right now.
Smallville kept its Thursday night slot at 8 p.m., with 4.15 million viewers on the average on a small dip due to the writer's strike, no doubt. Season 7 was nominated for several awards. For example, VES Awards, Emmy Award, and the Teen Choice Awards. The producers of Smallville worked with Sprint to produce the tie-in title Smallville Legends, Kara, and the Chronicles of Krypton, which is the first I've heard of this due to not being on the DVD when I owned it, unless I glossed over it. Another cast member has left the series, Annette O'Toole, but this will not be the last time we will hear or see her character. Aaron Ashmore as Jimmy Olsen has been promoted to a series regular, and we have more introduced in a bit, so let us recap last season. Clark was put into the Phantom Zone and escaped to fight Zod, who has taken over Lex's body. The battle was tough, but Clark prevailed. But like a wise Chinese man once said,
"Now there is a void for a new, stronger evil to fill."
Meaning that Clark had to face the inhabitants of the Phantom Zone that escaped with him. Lex and Lana had a relationship and had married. Lana was even pregnant. However, Lana finally learned Clark's secret of her own and was about to break it off the marriage with Lex until Lionel threatened to kill Clark. Lana later finds out that she was never pregnant and broke it off with Lex and was going to leave Smallville. However, she apparently died in an explosion. Heroes who joined up with Clark in the past finally came together with the organization of Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow. Lois finally becomes the reporter she was destined to be. Chloe finally gets into a committed relationship with Jimmy Olsen while being Clark's sidekick. She also finds out that she has been a meteor freak for years and her powers displayed when Lois was mortally wounded and when she cried out for Lois. Another hero, the Martian Manhunter, that knew Jor-El was watching over Clark and intervened only when necessary. Lex was arrested for the murder of Lana. The last Phantom copied Clark's DNA and made itself whole. Now we begin with the 7th season with the battle between Clark and the Phantom continuing in the episode Bizarro. Reeves' Dam was destroyed from Clark and the Phantom's battle. Everyone else is feeling the aftermath, specifically Lex, which the police left him behind to drown.
When the fuck believe you two niggas cops, man? Look at you looking like before and after. I swear to God, I wish you would try to arrest me. You'd be wearing 3 shoes. 2 on your feet and 1 in your hand.
Okay, those police officers need to be reprimanded at once. Clark is up in the woods and is confronted by the Phantom.
I wonder what would happen to all these humans if you weren't here to play savior. I know you do. Just never admit it.
You don't know anything about me.
No, Clark. I know everything about you. I didn't just borrow your DNA, I have all your memories. All your thoughts. Every last twisted one of them. When I'm living your life, I won't make those same mistakes.
Clark gains the upper hand against the Phantom and sends him flying. Clark then saves everyone by completely evaporating the water from the dam. Lex is underwater and was about to drown until he is saved by the mysterious woman. Lionel survived somehow, but was taken by someone unknown. Lois cried out for help, and Clark saved her and Chloe and the child that the Phantom previously hosted. Back at Luthor Court, one of Lex's assistants tried to get him out of the country, but
I'm all aware of that. I'm turning myself in.
In the fields, the Phantom, Bizarro, recovers and kills an innocent bystander. At the hospital, Lois tried to explain what happened to her and Chloe at the dam. Lois figured that Lex must have did something to them and wanted to get Lana's help. Clark tried to tell Lois what happened to Lana, but
There's something you should know.
If this is another heart-to-heart about Lana, I don't mean to be insensitive. Chloe is fighting for her life, and I am barely keeping it together, so one more ounce of emotion, I might just lose it. So make yourself useful for once. Just stay here and make sure nothing happens to my cuz, okay?
damn. I assume she did whatever we, the audience, have been thinking for years. Bizarro goes to the barn and uses the kryptonite to heal himself. Back at the hospital, Chloe was pronounced dead. Clark's super hearing goes into overdrive and heard Chloe crying out for him, and he finds her. Even though this was an urgent matter, Lois managed to change her clothes and make it to the mansion. She unknowingly runs into Bizarro.
All this time.
Slow down there, Tiger. A little personal space breach.
Come on. Are you looking for a guy who doesn't play by the rules?
And on what planet is that you, Smallville?
Whatever planet you want me to take you to.
Oh! Hey!
Maybe next time.
Chloe finds out on what happened to Lana, but she puts her tears to the side for now to assess on how to defeat Bizarro. Clark then calls the Martian Manhunter for help. Clark deduces that Bizarro got weaker when his face hit the sunlight. The Martian says that he will help Clark to defeat Bizarro, but it's Clark's battle to fight. Whatever the hell that means. At the jail, Bizarro finds Lex and wants to team up to take down Clark. So they go to Reeves Dam so Bizarro can gather more kryptonite to power up. Lex naturally double-crosses Bizarro and the man answers why it only replicated Clark. Bizarro takes it well.
Wrong decision.
Clark shows up and the two begin to fight. Bizarro gains the upper hand and hurts Clark, presumably killing him. However, the sunlight rejuvenates Clark.
Hey! Is that all you got? No match for my strength.
During the aftermath, Lois visits and gives her condolences about Lana.
Somehow you do. Just trust me on this one. But if you ever grab my ass again, I will be taking your head with me when I go.
As the episode ends, Lex is sent back to jail. Side note, I wonder if Lex racked up more charges for escaping, or did he at least cover that up? Anyway, as Clark looks off on the moon, and it then switched to China, or something that looks like China, we see Lana somehow survive the explosion. The woman who saved Lex revealed to be Kryptonian and flies off into Smallville. Now, this episode was okay. However, Bizarro and Clark's battle didn't last very long. For the first interaction and their latest combined, I want to say it was no more than 2 minutes. Saying more than 5 will be pushing it. Much like Zod from last season, I would have loved it to have been drawn out more. Other than that, it was an okay start to the season. We continue with the episode, Kara. Lois and Clark are up near Reeves Dam while Clark says goodbye to Lois, meaning he was finally going to start his training with Jor-El. They both find a Kryptonian ship, which is surrounded by kryptonite, which makes Clark weak. Lois tried to take pictures for a story, but was knocked out by the Kryptonian girl from the previous episode. The girl gets a drop on Clark and flies away out of the Earth's atmosphere and pulls out a holographic image of a baby. Later, Clark tried to steer Lois away from the truth, but she stands firm. Lex is cleared of all charges due to the disgruntled employee that got cancer while working at LuthorCorp. Lex confronts Chloe on whether or not Lana is truly dead. He explains that Lionel paid the man off to confess before he disappeared. Clark goes to the Daily Planet and gets information that the girl is at preschool scaring children. Clark investigates and finds her.
Looking for a small boy. I've searched everywhere with no luck.
This boy have a name?
Kal-El.
At the Daily Planet, Lois and Chloe meet the new editor-in-chief, Grant Gabriel. As he plays coy with Lois, he offers her a job. Back at the farm, and at some point, the girl gave her name, which is Kara. So Kara and Clark compare information. Kara says that they were both on the same trajectory when they left Krypton. However, Clark deducted that Kara was underwater for over 18 years. Kara reveals that her father, Zor-El, and Jor-El are brothers, which makes her and Clark cousins. Clark gives the bad news that Krypton was destroyed, which naturally, Kara denies it. Kara needs to find a ship which humans took, and if not found in a timely manner, it will activate the self-destruct sequence. Clark teaches Kara how to use her super hearing to find a beacon to her ship. Lois and Han manage to find the ship before Clark and Kara. Conveniently, she was knocked out by the force field of the ship. Kara and Clark show up in time before the ship self-destructed. Kara jumps in front and takes the blast of the ship, saving the day, but her ship is lost forever. Meanwhile, Lex actually found Lana and headed to Shanghai. Lana, however, was waiting for him.
As soon as I heard you'd freed yourself, I laid out the breadcrumbs and waited for the wolf to come knocking. Tell me, Lex, how are you planning on getting your revenge?
Lana, if I wanted revenge, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Things I did to you were beyond inexcusable. I don't blame you for wanting to ruin my life. I probably would have done the same thing. Only not as elegantly. Using my own science against me.
It wasn't science, Lex. It was your own psychosis. You cloned me.
Sit in the driver's seat. By the time the car exploded, you were safe and sound while Model 503 with your DNA was being blown to bits. Lana Luthor is dead and buried.
And a dead woman can't be convicted of murder.
Lana couldn't pull the trigger, and Lex says that he will take care of everything so that she can live the life that she wants. Back at the farm, Kara is feeling down that Krypton is gone and her entire family is gone also. Clark reminds her that he is her family and invites Kara to stay at the farm as long as she wants. Kara reveals to Clark that Zor-El gave her a crystal that is the key to Krypton's salvation. Clark believes that the ship may have destroyed it. However, Kara corrects Clark and says that only a Kryptonian can destroy it. Remember this for later. So Kara was right about the crystal. It is in the possession of the Department of Homeland Security. Clark goes to the fortress and speaks with Jor-El since the episode Vessel. I know. I checked. Clark tells him of Kara's arrival, which Jor-El denies of any involvement. Clark questions Jor-El about why not mentioning Zor-El. Jor-El says that Zor-El cannot be trusted, and neither can Kara. So Jor-El begins Clark's trading with Kara by watching over her, due to her being a larger threat. Lex comes back to Smallville and puts out every resource to find Kara. In the next episode, Fierce, it looks like some time has passed. Kara wants to fit in with the people, starting with Jimmy. Gee, I wonder what she was thinking. Next thing, 3 women who are obviously model turned acting guest stars signs up for Smallville Miss Sweet Corn contest, which Kara has interest in joining. One of the models was planning to leave her group with a guy and was mysteriously frozen to death. Lana returns to Smallville and she goes to see Clark, first having him shocked. Clark explains to Lana on how hard it was since he thought she was dead. Lana naturally apologizes for her deception. However, she can't show herself to the public until her name is cleared. Clark doesn't hesitate to invite Lana to live with him. He then introduces Kara to Lana, which Kara was practicing for the Miss Sweet Corn contest.
Motherfucker, god damn!
Now, in order for Kara to participate, Clark has to teach her to control her abilities. However, she loses patience and explodes the melon that they were practicing on, which also frustrates Clark. At the contest, Kara tries to get in one of the models to help her, but they were rude to her, telling her that she's going to need more than makeup to help. Bitch, Kara is as pretty as you, if not prettier. Anyway, Kara, upset, leaves out to get some air and finds the girl, Carly, frozen to death. Clark confides in Lana with his frustration with Kara. Lana gives some words of wisdom about
Don't be too hard on yourself. Something tells me that you are never going to understand the heart of a teenage girl, whether she's from Krypton or Kansas.
Chloe and Jimmy are put on an assignment from Grant of the murder of one of the models. As Jimmy takes pictures of the contest, he takes pictures of the models. Okay, they are called the Weather Women, and they were all caught in the last meteor shower. Anyway, one of the Weather Women, Tyler, tries to kill Jimmy, but is saved by Kara. At the hospital, Kara watches over Jimmy. Clark and Chloe arrive at the hospital, and instead of congratulating Kara, Clark was worried about that anyone saw her, which made Kara upset. Chloe digs up more on the Weather Girls and every event that they were in, and a huge heist happens. So why are they in Smallville? What could they be stealing? The broad that was rude to Kara earlier, Tempest, wants Kara to join her and Tyler due to Kara being seen using her abilities to rescue Jimmy. They show Kara a picture of gold, and Kara sees a Kryptonian medallion. Kara accepts to be in the group, but she immediately double-crosses them. At the contest, Kara wins, however, it was cut short when she was ratted out by Tyler and Tempest, which Kara was arrested. Lex was visited by Homeland Security Department Agent Carter. He takes interest in finding Kara because Lex's interest. Later on, Lex covers up for Kara, saying that she doesn't exist, and gives all his research of alien spaceships to Agent Carter. Meanwhile, Lex comes to the farm and lets Lana know that she's a free woman. He also deeply expressed on how sorry he was at how he treated her. He then asked about Kara, and Lana immediately covered and said that Kara was from Minnesota. In jail, Kara tells Clark about the map that leads to the Kryptonian medallion, but as she was taken away, one of the Weather Girls, Tempest, used her ability to win to take the map from Kara. Tyler and Tempest uncover the medallion, which they were disappointed by. Clark shows up to stop them, but Tempest unknowingly used her powers to dig up kryptonite and weakens Clark. Kara saves Clark by stopping the Weather Girls and destroying the kryptonite with her heat vision. Later on, Kara figures out that the medallion is a Kryptonian SOS, and also the Kryptonian might still be on Earth. Clark and Kara make up as she takes a job at the Talon. Lana wants to start over a relationship with Clark, to leave everything in the past and grow old together. Jimmy says that it's now open season on Meteor Freaks, which makes Chloe worried that if he finds out that she's a Meteor Freak, he will see her differently. The episode ends with Lex finally finding Kara.
Sooner or later, I'll find out the truth. Are you a savior? Or are you a warning?
The next episode, Kira, begins with Chloe running into Sasha, one of the earlier Meteor Freaks that has the power to control bees. When confronted, Sasha couldn't remember anything from the last 6 years. Sasha had a surgery that took away her abilities, along with her memories. Her surgery was done by Curtis Knox, and he visits Sasha only to kidnap her. As Lana was making breakfast, the Martian shows up and tells Kara to stay away from Clark. Kara says that the Martian forced her and her family out of her home. As she leaves, she tells Clark to watch his back. Lana learns the origins of the Martian, and of course, it's a lot to take in, so she leaves. The Martian explains that Zor-El tried to kill Jor-El prior to Krypton's destruction. He also states that Kara's crystal is to be found before Earth is destroyed, which Kara overhears. Knox is hired by Lex to help the Vixens 33.1 to have a new lease on life. Knox takes his BS because Lex doesn't want anything to come back on him, if the truth were to get out. Chloe looks up Knox's research and cancels on Jimmy so she can go see Knox herself and wants to be cured. Clark learns this information about Knox from Lana and confronts Chloe.
Chloe, you don't know anything about this doctor.
I know that he can give me a chance at a normal life.
Look, I understand wanting to have a normal life. I do. But brain surgery is not the way to do it. What are the side effects of the procedure?
Potentially memory loss.
Chloe,
If I have to give up a little bit of my past to gain a future, then so be it.
you're gonna forget everything. You're gonna forget your friends, your experiences. You're gonna forget me.
Clark, if you want to save me, let me go.
Kara enlists Jimmy's help to find her crystal, and the two start to get close. Chloe walks in on this and leaves out while throwing away a letter to Jimmy in the trash. Les catches Knox in the act to throw away Sasha's body and shoots Knox. However, Knox is unscathed. He knocks Lex out easily due to Lex's fragile bald head. Clark comes in and saves Lex from Knox. At the hospital, Lex figures out that Lana tipped Clark about Knox. Lex also tells Clark that Lana stole $10 million from him. Lex goes on to say that Knox is still alive. Chloe gets to Knox's office feeling something was off. She tried to leave, but Knox knocks her out. Clark goes to Knox's office and finds Chloe gone. Lex shows up and reveals that Knox is immortal. Through the pictures, Clark figures out where Knox is. At Knox's house, he explains to Chloe that every single patient that he killed was to help his wife to live forever. Clark shows up but is weakened by kryptonite. As Clark and Knox fight, Knox accidentally destroys the machines that was keeping his wife alive, which she immediately dies. Later on, the Martian punished Knox, but the details of that punishment is kept secret. Kara shows up and tells Clark to choose between her or the Martian. Clark was conflicted and didn't say anything, or him not saying anything shows that he made his choice and couldn't look Kara in the eye. Either way, Kara leaves the farm. Back at the planet, Jimmy and Chloe talk things over. Jimmy wants things to go back to normal. However, Chloe can't promise that. Jimmy can't take it anymore and breaks up with Chloe. Jeez, I guess they really wanted to play this storyline out, huh? In the filler episode Action, Clark loans out his farm to a Hollywood production to make a Warrior Angel movie. For the ones who don't know, Warrior Angel was mentioned a lot earlier in the series. He is a fictional character within the Smallville universe with parallels to Superman. Anyway, Clark saved the main actress of the movie, Rachel Davenport, played by Christina Milian. The reason being on why Rachel had repeated attempts on her life is due to the contrast of the Warrior Angel film and comic. In the comic, Warrior Angel's girlfriend dies, while in the movie, she lives. So the production assistant is the one doing this due to him being a diehard Warrior Angel fan and wanted to stay true to the comics. He saw Clark use his abilities and tried to kill Lana in order for Clark to embrace his destiny as the world's hero. Anyway, Clark stops him and saves Lana. Lex tried to get the PA to say something, but the PA recognized evil and protect Clark's secret. I thought that it was pretty neat to have a complete stranger protect Clark's secret, even though he was a villain himself. At the end of the episode, we get this nice scene. Now the subplot is Lionel is alive but captured by some strange woman. It was revealed that Lana was behind the whole thing. Lex rescued Lionel and he immediately confronts Lana.
I would never be involved in something like that.
Oh, please. That line stopped working for you the day you faked your own death.
Finding your body and paying your captor seems rather complicated from a hotel in Shanghai.
You may have lost the Luther name, but it's the Luther instincts that keep those claws of yours sharp.
Now, didn't I say this last season? You're not going to marry someone and not pick up one of their personality traits or behaviors. Oh yeah, Lois and Grant have some attraction to one another. And also, he wants her to stay away from the Luthers. I wonder why. I'm sure this won't have no significance to the season. The episode lore begins with a flashback on Krypton.
This crystal is your way back to us. As long as you have it, the world you know and love will be safe.
Why can't you come with me?
I'm needed here to protect Kendo. You must protect the crystal. It contains instructions for what you must do when you rescue your cousin Kal-El.
I don't want to go.
Remember, Kara, a true Kryptonian embraces their destiny no matter what.
So it turns out Kara was daydreaming and onto the plane. She flies away and her whereabouts are revealed that she's in DC looking for a crystal, no doubt. Chloe caught one of Kara's near incursion and figured out what she was. Jimmy knew, but didn't say anything because Kara told him not to. Clark deduces that Kara is looking for her crystal and will do anything to get it back. Clark catches up with Lionel and asks him what does he know about the lab that had Kara's ship. Clark still doesn't trust Lionel with Kara's secret, which I almost thought he forgot what Lionel did last season. So it's in Clark's character to be cautious like that. Or it's not his secret to tell. Clark wants to see if Lionel had any contacts in Washington. Wait, Martha is in Washington. Why you didn't just ask her? Did they forget already? Anyway, Lex visits Agent Carter and knows that something is being kept, and it's only a matter of time before Lex finds out. Kara uses her feminine energy to get the information out of one of the workers that was working on the crystal. Kara finds the lab, but the crystal is gone. Clark finds Kara and wants her to come home, but Kara, being stubborn, pushes Clark away, both figuratively and literally. Chloe was running her story at the ISIS Foundation, which is ran by Lana. Lana wants to help everyone who was hurt by Lex and asks Chloe not to tell Clark. Kara uses Jimmy's help on a lead which leads to the mansion. She is then weakened with kryptonite handcuffs by Agent Carter. Lex tried to stop him, but he was hitting that fragile face and knocking him out. Lana finds Kara and claws Clark, but she was too late. Clark confronts Lex and finds out that Kara was taken to Virginia. Agent Carter hooks Kara up to the machine made from Smallville back in Season 3. He uses the machine to scan Kara's memories. It is revealed that Kara visited Earth long before the destruction of Krypton. She followed her Aunt Laura, Clark's biological mother, through the portal. With some more digging for the machine, Zor-El shows up and wants to be with Laura, but she rejects him. However, it doesn't matter to him, for his science will have them to be together due to him stealing her DNA and putting it inside of a crystal. Zor-El then makes Kara forget that day. Clark and Lionel show up and save Kara from Agent Carter. As Clark and Kara make up, they find Laura's picture behind Martha's. Behind the humbleness of the ISIS Foundation is a full state-of-the-art surveillance system, which Lana used to find Kara. Also, she is watching Lex. At the end of the episode, it is revealed that Clark was the one that took the crystal with Laura's DNA inside. Wrath is a filler episode to where an accident gives Lara Clark's abilities. At first, it had its benefits. Then afterwards, the power started to affect Lana's mind and wanted to exploit Lex on tracking Kryptonians. She almost killed him until Clark saved Lex and took the powers back from Lana. A lot of things was said to Clark from Lana in this episode. She apologized, but all those feelings just did not come from nowhere. Also in the episode, we get a very serious question that Lex asks Clark.
What do you think is stronger, Clark? Her hatred for me or her affection for you?
She was angry. Eventually, she'll move on.
Don't hold your breath.
During the struggle between Clark and Lana, remnants of Milton Fine had escaped its containment and hijacked the human body. Also, while Grant and Lois act on their attraction to each other, it's revealed that Grant is working for Lex. You know, a Kryptonian cousin of Clark's would have been helpful in this episode. But where was she? In Coast City for a week with Jimmy, which leads into the next episode, Blue. Clark hears Laura's voice calling out to him for the crystal. He goes to the fortress, begging Jor-El to help, but...
We need to help her!
Every experiment my brother conducted was motivated by power and greed.
Hurry, my son. I have little time left.
Do not allow human emotions to cloud your judgment.
I won't turn my back on my mother.
Clark inserts the crystal and Laura materializes. It was a happy reunion, but a figure was watching them. Clark brings Laura back to the farm and Kara greets her. Kara learns of Clark's deceit and harboring the crystal from her. Laura warns that Zor-El has came from the crystal also, and he will show up soon looking for a fight. But if they band together, he won't stand a chance. Meanwhile, as Clark and Laura leave, Zor-El visits Kara. Kara confronts him on what he's done in the past, but after much convincing, Kara forgives him and waits for Zor-El at the fortress. Meanwhile, Zor-El tried to kill Lionel due to being Jor-El's emissary. Clark came in time to save Lionel. Clark gets Laura to Arlo's apartment and has Lana to look after her. As Clark was going to leave, Laura gives Clark a ring that Jor-El once wore. Clark puts it on and his eyes start to glow blue. Clark sees Zor-El again and tries to fight him. But the effects of the ring, which we now know is a new kind of kryptonite, blue kryptonite, which take away Clark's powers. Zor-El wants Clark to join him, but powers or not, Clark had no problems telling Zor-El to piss off. Zor-El then kidnaps Laura and hurts Lana. Instead of seeking medical attention, Clark goes to the Daily Planet to get Chloe's help. And you know what's funny? I have to question people's character when they see an injured person walking around their place of business. But anyway, Zor-El wants to eradicate the human race to repopulate the planet. This plan is so convoluted. The only way you can repopulate is through incest. Moving on. As Clark tried to get the ring off, he sees Zor-El's work to block out the sun. He quickly grabs the key to go to the fortress. Zor-El made a false promise to Lara to save Clark, but he did no such thing. Lara grabs the dagger to kill Zor-El, but he overpowered him. Clark shows up and uses green kryptonite to weaken Zor-El. With no other choice, in order to destroy the blue kryptonite and Zor-El, he must destroy the crystal, which also destroyed Lara. But before Zor-El met his demise, he tried to kill Kara, and then this caused Kara to disappear and transported to Detroit, Michigan, with no memory of who she is.
I'ma go buy me a gun, and I'ma come back here and set this motherfucker off.
The subplot of this episode, Chloe and Lex figure out Grant and Lois have been dating. Lex tells Grant that he needs to break it off with Lois due to the fact that Lois will dig up things that don't need to get out. It's also revealed that Grant is Julian Luther, Lex's baby brother that was killed way before the series started. But it's stated that Lionel gave Julian up for adoption. Okay, we'll come back to this later. Chloe wants Lois to stop seeing Grant because she doesn't want rumors going around that Lois only got a job because she was dating Grant. Lois and Grant pretend to break it off, and they just see each other more privately. And by privately, I mean fool around at the Daily Planet. Now back to the main plot of the episode. Clark goes to the fortress to help look for Kara. However,
you have chosen to defy me yet again, Kal-El, and you seem to lack the capacity to learn your lesson. I am sorry, my son. This defiance cannot go without consequence.
The following episode, Gemini, is a Christmas episode. So I was wrong that Lexmas was the only Christmas episode in the entire series. I didn't think much of it because I've seen the episode Gemini a few times after it aired. Anyway, Lois and Grant are still seeing each other against Chloe and Lex's wishes. But why would they see each other at work, like I said before? Playing it too close to the chest like that will bound to get them caught. So Lois is contacted by a man by the name of Adrian, claiming to be a clone created by Luthor Corp. He wants Lois to print the story or Chloe would die thanks to a bomb planted on her. Meanwhile, Clark returns from the fortress, revealing that he couldn't find Kara and it's time for him to move on. Clark wants to help Lana take Lex down, which brings up Project Scion that was mentioned in the episode Wrath. Lana shows Clark that she's been treating a woman who has been robbing her body's natural minerals. Clark figures out that it was Milton Fine, aka the Brain Interactive Construct, aka Brainiac. So from here on out, any mentions of Milton Fine, he will now be going by Brainiac. The woman who was quarantined was speaking Kryptonian, and Lana and Clark go to the Daily Planet to get Chloe to decipher the pattern. While in the elevator with Jamie, she reveals that she's a meteor freak. Adrian uses Lois to get the truth out of Lex. However, with quick thinking, Lex knocks Lois out. Adrian shows himself and reveals to Grant that he is also a clone.
What the fuck? Oh, that is whack. Who in the hell left the gate open?
This has got to be the dumbest out of nowhere reveal if I ever saw one. Anyway, Lex kills Adrian and activates the bomb. Clark in time saves Chloe and Jimmy. Later, Chloe shows her powers to Jimmy and he vows to keep her secret. Lois is now on Lex's tail and wants to dig up everything about Project Scion, but Lex took countermeasures and bought the Daily Planet. Later that night, Grant breaks up with Lois. For real this time. The end of the episode, it seems as though Clark and Lana's relationship had gotten better. However, yep, Bizarro has returned, and the real Clark's whereabouts have been revealed. He had been frozen in the fortress by Jor-El this entire time. We follow up with the episode Persona. Bizarro continues to take over Clark's life as he offers to leave Smallville with Lana. Later on, Dakota finds out where Brainiac has been hiding, and Bizarro investigates. But not to destroy Brainiac, but he needs his help to fix his body, so his face won't change to stone when exposed to sunlight. Brainiac tells Bizarro of a Kryptonian scientist by the name of Daxar that can maybe help Bizarro, but a Kryptonian shield that belonged to Daxar must be found. Bizarro threatens Brainiac if things don't check out, he will kill him. Bizarro shows his impatience to Chloe because she can't help him find the shield. With no luck, Lana tells Bizarro the fortress and he flies there to get Jor-El's help. Jor-El knew right away that it wasn't Clark and threatened to destroy Bizarro. As Bizarro leaves, Jor-El releases Clark from his punishment to deal with Bizarro. Clark returns to the farm and informs Lana that it was Bizarro, not him. Wow. You know, since you let Lana in of all your secrets, well, most of them, I don't understand why you didn't tell her of all your enemies, especially important ones like the one that looks exactly like you. Anyway, Bizarro went to Brainiac scared for help. Brainiac says that he will help Bizarro. Clark goes to Lionel for help. To figure out a way to beat Bizarro, Lionel tells Clark the only way to defeat Bizarro is an overload of blue kryptonite, and learns of Daxar and needs the shield. However, it wasn't Lionel who gave the information, but it was Brainiac. Clark had to convince Chloe that he is the real deal, and she had the shield once she picked up on Bizarro's behavior. Clark uses the shield and transports to Daxar's location, and gets the blue kryptonite. Bizarro finds Lana and says that he will never hurt her. Clark shows up and is not backed by Bizarro. Lana grabs the blue kryptonite and heads to destroy Bizarro. However,
Mom telling me that you finally felt like we were meant to be together. So listen to him, Lana. I know what's in his mind, Lana. He doesn't love you like I do.
That's a lie! You're lying, Clark. To yourself. You're so worried about doing the right thing, you don't even see it.
He's right, Clark.
What?
I've never been more in love than I have the past month. Only it wasn't with you. It was with him.
why would she say that in a life or death situation? More on Lana in a little while. But she uses the blue kryptonite to destroy Bizarro, but not before he tells Lana that he loves her. The subplot of this episode is that of Grant revealing of Lex cloning him to Lionel. Lionel wants to get to know Grant while he goes and says that he is disgusted with Lex for this transgression. The family reunion between Lionel and Grant was cut short when Grant was murdered, and we all know Lex was behind it. So it was revealed that Brainiac was using both Clark and Bizarro to get to Daxar to prepare himself. Now let me get this out of the way about Bizarro while it's still fresh in my mind. Now when he first came to Earth, his only reason for living was survival, which bears the question, how did he escape the Martian's punishment? Once he returned, I felt that he was going to go on a rampage and kill Clark, but once he found Lana and found out that Clark was not there, all he can do was be with Lana. Man, what kind of power does that coochie have to turn a maniac into just an imposter and a scammer? But I can say that he really loved Lana and was willing to beat Clark as long as he gets to be with her. He has done everything that Clark would not do. Bizarro went as far as having sex with Lana. He had no issues with controlling himself when it came to that. I guess that sold Lana on the overlooking the odd behavior. Chloe was on to him though, but she couldn't really prove it until the real Clark came back. I wonder who else he had fooled. How long was he able to stay out of the sunlight to not reveal his deceptions? Was he also going to continue to play the hero? Also, I don't get why he wanted to get rid of the real Clark. He could have just lived his own life. Was this a balance like the morphing grid in Power Rangers, meaning the same type of power sets cannot exist simultaneously? Either way, it was never explained on why he had to be the only Clark. Bizarro could have lived his own life, like I said, in peace and not causing trouble. Hell, he could have just left off-world and found another planet to inhabit. He was definitely powerful enough to protect himself, apart from the weakness of the yellow sun. But he had to take the hard way and met his demise from one Lana Lang.